The chaos of the collapsing tomb fades into an ordinary city restroom. Juhyun stands alone at the sink, staring into the mirror. For a moment, everything is quiet, until his backpack starts rattling violently. Annoyed, he rips it open. Inside, the shattered Muramasa blade trembles angrily, flickering with furious symbols as if it's screaming at him. Juhyun doesn't even blink. Without hesitation, he grabs the legendary sword and dumps it straight into the toilet. Splash. He calmly tells the relic to shut up and enjoy the toilet water. But as he turns away, a sharp pain shoots through his arm. Juhyun rolls up his sleeve, revealing horrific burns and scars covering his forearm. The damage came from forcing the Muramasa into submission. That's the price of using domination. Normally, relic users pass trials peacefully. Juhyun doesn't. He forces relics to obey him, and his body pays the price. Still, he knows there's no alternative. Relics betray humans eventually. Domination is the only way to survive. Suddenly, ding, a purple system window appears. You have exited the tomb. All 4 Tomb Raider skills are now unlocked. As a reward, the system presents 2 choices: Path of Affinity or Path of Domination. Juhyun stares at the screen, glancing at his wounded arm. Most people would choose Affinity. He doesn't hesitate. He punches the screen. Path of Domination confirmed. The system dispenses his reward. But when he checks his pockets, there's nothing. Finally, he finds a tiny silver pill in his palm. A rank consumable relic. Instant food type. A mint. With nothing to lose, he tosses it into his mouth. Seconds later, his body erupts with energy. He collapses to his knees as golden light bursts from his scarred arm. The wounds vanish instantly. His arm heals completely. A new system message appears. Because he endured relic poison and survived the backlash, he has unlocked a unique ability. Tolerance, immunity. Juhyun stares in disbelief. Relic poison eventually kills every relic user in the world. But now, he's immune. Across the world, chaos spreads. News broadcasts report the massive tomb incident in Seoul. Witnesses reveal that a member of the Japanese excavation team attempted to sacrifice civilians inside the structure. International outrage erupts immediately. Governments demand answers. Inside a secret Japanese boardroom, furious executives scream about the scandal. Their operation has been exposed. But the team leader, Hiroyuki Mori, calmly explains the situation. The mysterious Korean player from the prophecy appeared. However, they now have an advantage. Their future guide relic has finally marked its target, and the powerful TKBM Corporation is backing their research. This time, Mori promises they will eliminate the Korean player. Meanwhile, Juhyun lounges on his bed, analyzing his new ability. Tolerance makes him immune to relic poison, the greatest weakness of relic users, which means his enemies will eventually die from the very power he can use freely. Juhyun looks into the empty room, demanding answers from the mysterious crow relic that gave him this power. But the crow remains silent. Then his phone rings. It's one of Kyungdi's henchmen. The man reports that he infiltrated the guest list for the secret Midas auction in Las Vegas. 3 people are registered under the alias Jack K-Man. Juhyun's eyes sharpen. CEO Taijun Kwan is definitely there. But before he can respond, ding, a blood-red system warning fills the room. You have been marked by an S-rank relic. Your future is being read. Juhyun freezes. The Japanese team is using the future guide on him. His shock slowly twists into cold fury. They're already hunting me. He lifts the phone back to his ear. Yes, he's going to Las Vegas. But first, there's something he needs to take care of. The story dives into the chilling origin of the future guide relic. Legend says it was written by a politician in ancient Japan to predict the future. For centuries, it was believed to be nothing more than a myth recorded in old books. But the relic was real. And unlike most relics, it didn't create a tomb. Instead, it chose to hide inside human society. One day, a young high school girl named Yuka Sasaki finds a filthy notebook on the ground. Disgusted, she picks it up. That notebook is the future guide, and the moment she touches it, the relic chooses her as its master. Terrified, Sasaki tries everything to get rid of it. She tears it apart, burns it, throws it away. But no matter what she does, the book always reappears on her desk. Soon the Japanese government discovers her secret. Agents approach Sasaki and ask her to help the Japanese excavation team by reading the relic's prophecies. She agrees. Her life changes instantly. Her family is moved into a luxurious mansion and lives surrounded by wealth and protection. With Sasaki's help, the Japanese team begins collecting powerful relics. But the reality quickly becomes dark. Sasaki has to drop out of school and spend all her time deciphering the relic's ancient prophecies. The worst part is the terrifying rule of the future guide. Eventually, the relic will abandon its current master and choose someone more capable. And when that happens, the previous owner dies. The story cuts to the present at Incheon International Airport. Joo-hyun sits calmly inside the terminal, dressed in a sleek black turtleneck. His thoughts are cold. If his enemies had left him alone, he would have simply disappeared. But they try to track him. Since they are connected to CEO Kwon, he decides he cannot ignore them. His eyes narrow with dangerous intent. He plans to disrupt their plans completely. Meanwhile in Japan, Sasaki sits in her living room watching her favorite idol Suzuki perform on television. She blushes and fangirls excitedly over the concert. Suddenly, two government agents enter the room and interrupt her. It's time for her to read the future guide again. Annoyed, Sasaki reluctantly walks to her desk. She complains about how difficult the ancient characters are and jokingly tells the relic it should draw pictures instead. Suddenly, the book flips open by itself. Sasaki screams in terror. The agents rush over and see the pages filled with repeating kanji. The translation is horrifying. Sasaki dies. Sasaki dies. Sasaki dies. Panicking, she insists this must be the work of the Korean relic user. The agents tell her to use the future guide again and see exactly how he plans to kill her. Her eyes glow with golden light as she activates the relic. Meanwhile, at Haneda Airport in Japan, a flight from Seoul has just landed. Joo-hyun walks calmly through the terminal with his luggage. Across the city, a Japanese commander receives the alert. The Korean relic user has entered the country. An agent asks if they should arrest him immediately, but the commander refuses. They believe they have the advantage because the future guide is tracking him. Their plan is simple. Strike first. Later, Joo-hyun sits peacefully in a traditional tatami room eating sushi, completely relaxed. He casually notes that authentic Japanese sushi really is the best, but his calm appearance hides a deeper plan. Joo-hyun reveals the truth. He intentionally moved slowly through Japan to provoke the Japanese team. Earlier, he had written the words "Sasaki dies" repeatedly, baiting the future guide into reacting. He wanted them to come to him, because once they did, he could eliminate them all at once. Outside the room, the Japanese strike team prepares to attack. Sasaki has been disguised as a waitress. Their plan is simple. She only needs to make eye contact with Joo-hyun once. The future guide will lock onto his location permanently. Believing he has no idea who she is, Sasaki nervously opens the door. She enters the room, carrying sushi. Joo-hyun turns his head. For a moment, romantic sparkles fill the background. Sasaki instantly freezes. Her cheeks turn bright red. Instead of fear, she is completely mesmerized by how handsome he is. All thoughts of her mission disappear. She places the sushi on the table while secretly crying over the idea that the soldiers outside might kill someone this good-looking. Joo-hyun thanks her politely. Under the table, Joo-hyun reaches for a hidden weapon. Outside, the commander sees the movement on surveillance cameras and screams for the agents to breach the room. But the door won't open. Inside, the situation suddenly becomes absurd. Instead of escaping, Sasaki intentionally closed the door so she could stay inside with Joo-hyun. Leaning across the table, she asks if she can become one of his fans. Joo-hyun stares at her in disbelief. She then shows him her phone with a message written in broken English. "I fall in love. Future say we friends. Are you okay?" Joo-hyun realizes something important. This girl is unbelievably naive, and that makes her the perfect shield. He quickly types something on her phone and hands it back. Sasaki beams with excitement. Suddenly, crash. The paper wall explodes outward. The agents outside rush forward. But the moment they step inside, twang. Hidden rope traps snap tight around them. In seconds, the entire strike team is tied up on the floor. Joo-hyun stands above them with a victorious smile. He reveals that he rigged the entire room with traps long before they arrived. He tells the captured agents not to worry. He only tied them up so they wouldn't ruin the mood. Then he turns slightly towards Sasaki. With a confident grin, he asks, "So, should we continue our date?" The so-called date between Ju Hyun and Sasaki officially begins. The two sit across from each other at a low table. Ju Hyun casually types something on Sasaki's pink phone, a dark smirk hiding on his face. When he finishes, he hands it back and simply says, "There." Sasaki reads the message and immediately blushes bright red. Completely lost in her romantic fantasy, she giggles and asks if they should try escaping together for the sake of love. Then she suddenly realizes something. "So you actually know Japanese?" Ju Hyun shrugs calmly. "Just a little." Then his eyes narrow. "You didn't come alone, did you? I'm guessing there are soldiers with you." Sasaki freezes and awkwardly admits that he's right. Ju Hyun leans closer, quietly manipulating her. He whispers that those soldiers hate him and probably won't let him leave with her. Then he adds that they must make her do boring work every day. Sasaki immediately agrees. Ju Hyun pats her head gently and says they should escape together and give those boring guys some trouble. Sasaki completely melts, but reality crashes back instantly. Moments later, the bound bodies of the Japanese strike team are violently thrown into the hallway walls. Ju Hyun calmly walks past the defeated agents while Sasaki happily follows behind him, still blinded by her crush. Chuck! A cold blade presses against her throat. Sasaki screams in terror as the romantic illusion shatters. Ju Hyun stands behind her, his voice cold. "Be quiet and give me your phone." She drops it immediately. Ju Hyun smirks and crushes the phone under his foot, destroying anything the Japanese team could use to track her. Then he leans close and whispers that he knows exactly who she is. The future guide user. Sasaki begins to panic. She finally realizes how dangerous he really is. Later, the scene shifts to a quiet cafe room. Ju Hyun calmly drinks iced tea while Sasaki sits across from him, sweating nervously. Under the table, her wrists are tightly bound by glowing magical ropes. She accuses him of lying about the date. Ju Hyun casually eats a strawberry sundae and replies that they're simply spending time together in a cafe. If this isn't a date, what is? Terrified, Sasaki asks if he plans to kill her. Ju Hyun calmly admits he considered it. He even planned to slit her throat with Muramasa. But after meeting her, he realized she's far dumber than expected. So instead, he gives her an order. Summon the future guide and write down everything you see. Sasaki insists she left it at home. Ju Hyun immediately grabs her leg and reveals a glowing relic mark on her thigh. He explains that every relic user receives a summoning mark like this. All she needs to do is activate it. Shaking with fear, Sasaki calls the relic. A cloud of smoke appears, and the future guide notebook materializes in her lap. Ju Hyun sits back down and calmly gives his ultimatum. "Write everything. Miss even one line, and I'll kill you." What follows is hours of frantic writing. Sasaki scribbles prophecy after prophecy while sweat pours down her face. Her hand begins to cramp, but Ju Hyun coldly tells her to keep going. Eventually, she begs him to just take the relic instead, but Ju Hyun refuses. Inside his mind, he already knows why. The future guide is a rank S relic. Even dominating the lower rank Muramasa already damaged his body. If he tried to dominate an S-rank relic right now, the backlash could destroy him. So instead, he's extracting all the information he can. Meanwhile, downstairs, the Japanese military arrives. Armed soldiers flood the cafe building, searching every room. Upstairs, Ju Hyun hears the commotion and smirks. The soldiers finally found him. He asks Sasaki how much she has written. She shows him a thick stack of filled pages. "That's enough," he says. Sasaki looks hopeful, thinking he will release her. But Ju Hyun slowly draws his sword. She begins begging for her life. Ju Hyun calmly explains something terrifying. She believes she has been using the future guide, but the truth is the relic has been using her. Then he raises his blade. Sasaki screams as the sword swings down. The blade pierces straight through the future guide notebook instead of her. Blue lightning erupts across the room as the relic screams in agony. Ju Hyun twists the blade, destroying the S-rank relic. The connection breaks instantly. Sasaki collapses unconscious. Outside, the destruction of the relic sends a massive shockwave through the building. System messages begin appearing around Ju Hyun. He gains a new title and unlocks the giant hunter skill. But before he can react, the cafe door explodes open. The Japanese commander and his soldiers rush inside. They stare in horror at the ashes of the destroyed future guide. Ju Hian stands calmly in the smoke, a cold smirk on his face. The Japanese military commander points forward in pure rage and orders his soldiers to kill Ju Hian immediately. Rifles click as the squad aims their weapons. But Ju Hian doesn't even react. Standing calmly with his hands in his coat pockets, he tilts his head and smirks. "Do you really think you can kill me?" The commander hesitates, confused by his confidence. Before the soldiers can fire, Ju Hian suddenly tosses a small purple rice cake toward them. He casually tells them to enjoy it. He heard the taste is to die for. The commander catches the strange item and looks at it in confusion. But the moment he smells it, chaos erupts. The soldiers behind him suddenly lose their minds. Hypnotized by the scent, they tackle their own commander, screaming that the rice cake belongs to them. Even the commander falls under its influence. Within seconds, the entire elite squad is fighting each other like maniacs, shooting guns and throwing punches over the rice cake. While the room descends into madness, Ju Hian has already disappeared. The scene cuts to a plane flying across a bright blue sky. Inside the airport terminal, Ju Hian calmly walks with his suitcase, amused by the chaos he left behind. He explains the relic he used, the housewife's rice cake. Anyone who smells it becomes instantly obsessed with it, and it even allows the user to teleport away from danger. Now safely on his flight, Ju Hian pulls out the stack of prophecies Sasaki wrote earlier. It's time to analyze the future guide's predictions. As he reads, he notices something important. The TKBM Corporation supported Sasaki's relic operations in Japan. That means Sasaki likely encountered CEO Quan. Ju Hian scans the messy notes until he suddenly finds a key prophecy. The omen that marks the beginning of the Great Calamity, the underworld filled with greed. Ju Hian immediately understands. The underworld of greed must refer to the Midas auction house in Las Vegas. But the prophecy continues. It describes a terrifying event known as the Great Catastrophe, the moment when tombs suddenly appeared across the world. But something is wrong. According to Ju Hian's memories, that catastrophe shouldn't happen this soon. Then he reads the next line. "The God who knows your desires will be with you." Ju Hian's eyes widen. That line means a god-tier relic will appear at the Midas auction. And suddenly he understands. This must be the relic that made CEO Quan so powerful in the future. A dark smile spreads across Ju Hian's face. This time, he's going to take it first. Meanwhile, back in Japan, the situation has become a complete disaster. Inside a government meeting room, officials sit in tense silence. The commander reports the worst possible news. The legendary S-rank Future Guide relic has been destroyed. Worse still, Captain Mori and his squad ended up shooting each other while fighting over a rice cake. They are currently hospitalized. A furious senator slams the table and explodes with rage, demanding to know how the military could fail so badly. As the room erupts into shouting, another woman quietly rides an elevator elsewhere in the building. She listens calmly as the report of the failure reaches her. Instead of panicking, she smiles. If someone is powerful enough to destroy an S-rank relic and defeat an elite squad, then fighting him is pointless. It would be far smarter to recruit him. She contacts the head of TKBM, CEO Quan. Standing in a dark office overlooking a red city skyline, Quan listens to the report. The woman warns him that the mysterious relic user could eventually target TKBM's vault. But Quan simply laughs. To him, every person has a price. He orders her to keep watching the target. If necessary, they will simply buy his loyalty. The scene shifts dramatically to the neon lights of Las Vegas. Inside a luxurious VIP casino lounge, Ju Hian sits alone in a red booth, sipping a drink. He complains that his underlings are late. Soon his blonde associate Sung-woo runs over with two large goons wearing ridiculous Hawaiian shirts. But a bouncer blocks them from entering the VIP area. Sung-woo begins arguing loudly in Korean, completely failing to understand the English-speaking guard. Just as the situation is about to escalate, Ju Hian calmly steps in. To everyone's surprise, he speaks perfect English and politely explains that the three men are his guests. The guard immediately apologizes and allows them inside. Sung-woo is completely stunned. He had no idea Ju Hian could speak English. Ju Hian simply tells them to sit down and report what they found. Sung-woo slides a thick file across the table containing information about people using the alias JK. Ju Hyun flips through the pages and finally stops on one entry. With a loud thud, he slams his hand down. He's found him. This alias belongs to CEO Kwon. If Kwon is secretly attending the Midas auction, it means a powerful relic is about to appear. Ju Hyun opens the auction catalog to find out which relic it is. But Sung-woo panics. He reminds Ju Hyun that the Midas auction is attended by billionaires. Even the cheapest items start at $20,000. They came here only to gather information, not to actually bid. Ju Hyun calmly closes the catalog and stands up. Then he asks a chilling question. Do you think I can't buy anything just because I don't have money? Without another word, he walks toward the casino floor. Sung-woo chases after him in panic. Ju Hyun stops in front of a giant glass window overlooking the bright lights of the casino. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. This is Las Vegas, the capital of gambling, and he doesn't need to bring money here. He only needs to make it. As he stares out over the neon lights of the city, Sung-woo can only watch in horror. His boss is about to gamble in the most dangerous casino in the world. And knowing Ju Hyun, he's probably going to rig the entire system. Welcome to the chaotic neon heart of Las Vegas. Inside one of the casinos, absolute madness is unfolding. A massive digital screen above a slot machine flashes an unbelievable number. $1,686,784. The crowd surrounding the machine is completely stunned. People stare at the screen in disbelief. One man points out that there are still 10 spins left, while another wonders if slot machines are even supposed to pay out that much money. Then we see the man sitting at the machine. It's Ju Hyun. Standing behind him, his blonde underling Sung-woo is sweating nervously. He explains to the crowd that if several slot machines are linked together, the payouts can stack up and create huge jackpots. But inside his mind, Sung-woo is panicking, because the real problem isn't the machine. It's Ju Hyun. Every slot machine he touches has paid out massive six-figure jackpots. The machine suddenly prints a thick voucher. SSK. Ju Hyun calmly grabs the ticket and stands up, telling his crew to stop staring and follow him so they can cash out. Sung-woo stares at the voucher like it's some kind of sacred artifact, nervously asking how much money it represents. Then he suddenly panics, wondering if they might get shot over this. But before they can leave, a casino security guard steps forward and blocks their path. He politely explains that it's extremely unusual for someone to win so many jackpots in a row, and asks if he can check Ju Hyun for hidden devices. Ju Hyun simply raises his arms. Go ahead. The guard pats him down carefully. Then, the guard pulls a small golden pocket knife from Ju Hyun's pocket. Suspicious, he opens the blade and asks what it is. Ju Hyun casually replies that it's just a souvenir he bought earlier because he liked the color. The guard examines it and eventually hands it back. But in reality, that souvenir is actually the gold axe relic in disguise. Inside Ju Hyun's mind, the relic angrily complains about being forced to stay in such an embarrassing form. Ju Hyun ignores the whining. He had already used the gold axe's supernatural ability to detect wealth, allowing him to identify which slot machines would hit jackpots before even playing them. He even used it to determine which casinos in Las Vegas were most likely to pay out. Back in reality, the guard apologizes and says Ju Hyun must simply be incredibly lucky. Behind him, Sung-woo is still completely confused. Meanwhile, casino staff have started opening slot machines and inspecting them. Ju Hyun calmly adjusts his coat. That means it's time to move to another casino. Soon they arrive at the cashier desk. Ju Hyun places a huge stack of vouchers on the counter. The cashier looks down in shock and asks if he really wants to cash out all of it. She offers to escort him to the VIP room. But Ju Hyun simply smiles and asks her to hurry up and bring the money. Later that night, the group sits around a bar table. In the middle of the table is a large duffel bag overflowing with stacks of $100 bills. Sung-woo and the two goons almost cry with happiness as they hug the bag. They celebrate loudly, saying they've never seen this much cash before. Ju Hyun calmly takes a sip of his beer. Then he drops a single sentence that shatters their excitement. That money isn't yours. Sung-woo nervously argues that this is already more money than most people see in a lifetime. He asks why they should risk everything at the Midas auction instead of simply going home. Ju Hyun shakes his head. No, His goal isn't money. His goal is the god-tier relic that will appear at the auction. And if he plans to challenge CEO Quan, he'll need even more money. So he orders them to finish eating. Because they're heading to another casino, Sungwoo nearly collapses. Again. Soon they enter another neon-lit casino. Inside Ju Hyun's pocket, the golden axe relic vibrates excitedly, claiming it can smell money everywhere. Ju Hyun orders it to locate the next jackpot machines immediately. A system notification appears, showing that his spy skill and relic affinity have increased. But Ju Hyun knows something darker. Places filled with human despair, like casinos or battlefields, are perfect environments for relics. And he hates feeding relics. So he plans to get the money quickly and leave. But suddenly, Sungwoo shouts in panic. The duffel bag is shaking violently. Ju Hyun opens it and sees the silver axe relic glowing intensely. Unlike the gold axe, the silver axe detects dangerous enemies nearby, which means someone powerful is close. Before he can react, chaos suddenly erupts across the casino floor. Gamblers begin fighting each other. Machines are flipped over. People scream about stolen money. Then a crazed man with glowing red eyes lunges at Sungwoo, demanding his money. Ju Hyun instantly knocks him out with a brutal kick. Shockingly, the attacker turns out to be a casino dealer. This makes no sense. There shouldn't be any tomb activity in this area yet. So what's causing this madness? Then, click, clack, high heels echo across the casino floor. A beautiful blonde woman walks toward them, and the chaotic crowd suddenly quiets in awe. Even Sungwoo blushes, wondering if she's a celebrity. But the moment Ju Hyun sees her, his expression completely changes. Grab the bags. We're leaving. Now, he immediately starts running. Because he knows exactly who she is. Irene Holton, the youngest daughter of the powerful Holton family. But in the future, she becomes something far more terrifying. A god-tier relic user known as the King of Bankruptcy. Anyone who stays near her suffers extreme misfortune. People lose their wealth. Companies collapse. Entire financial markets crash. She once caused a global financial crisis by herself, which is why Ju Hyun desperately tries to escape. But suddenly, excuse me, Irene runs toward him. Ju Hyun panics and sprints down a hallway. He grabs a door handle. Crackle. Purple lightning shocks his hand. System warnings appear in front of his eyes. Opening the door will damage his relics. He's trapped. And at that exact moment, Irene catches up. With a cheerful smile, she grabs his arm. Please listen to me for a moment. Ju Hyun slowly turns his head. His face is frozen in pure terror. He's just been caught by the most cursed woman in the world. The worst possible situation is happening. Ju Hyun stands frozen at the casino exit. Behind him stands Irene Holton, looking innocent and unaware of the destruction she radiates. She politely asks him to listen for a moment. But Ju Hyun isn't looking at her face. He's staring in horror at her hand on his arm, because it's releasing thick purple smoke. Suddenly, ding, ding, ding. System warnings flood his vision. You are being oppressed by an ominous aura. Your relics are deteriorating rapidly. Your luck is being overshadowed. All actions will likely result in failure. Just standing next to Irene is draining his power. Ju Hyun immediately slaps her hand away. Let go of me. At that moment, Sungwoo and the two Hawaiian shirt goons rush over. They bow awkwardly to Irene, excited to meet her. One of the goons suddenly recognizes her. It's Irene Holton, the famous heiress of a powerful American family. The goons instantly start fanboying, staring at her in awe. But Irene ignores them. Her eyes stay locked on Ju Hyun. She steps forward and asks the question she came for. How did he win so many jackpots? Inside his head, Ju Hyun is screaming in disbelief. Why would someone this rich care about casino jackpots? But he doesn't have time to think. He grabs Sungwoo and pushes everyone to move. Then he literally sprints past Irene. The moment he escapes, her curse activates. Both goons suddenly collapse in agony as purple smoke surrounds them. Irene stands there looking guilty, apologizing to them. Meanwhile, Ju Hyun drags Sungwoo outside. Sungwoo gasps for air while asking what just happened. Ju Hyun kneels down and gives a serious order. Stay as far away from Irene Holton as possible. He tells Sungwoo to guard the massive casino cash and wait for the goons to recover. Then Sungwoo asks where he's going. Ju Hyun stands up. The Midas auction. He admits he wanted to rob more casinos first, but now he has no choice. He can't miss the auction. The scene shifts to the entrance of the Midas auction house, filled with wealthy elites. As Ju Hian approaches the door, a smug man blocks his path and tells him to move to the general line because this entrance is VIP only. Ju Hian instantly recognizes him. Shiwu Yun, CEO Quan's right-hand man. And if Shiwu is here, the boss must be nearby. Right then, a tall man in a black suit approaches. CEO Taijun Quan, the man who destroyed Ju Hian's past life. Ju Hian's eyes burn with hatred. A flashback shows his past self, beaten and bleeding, swearing revenge on Quan. Back in the present, Ju Hian hides in the crowd with a cold smile. Quan doesn't recognize him, and that's his greatest advantage. This time, Ju Hian plans to sabotage everything and steal every god-tier relic Quan was meant to obtain at the auction. This time, I'll be the winner. Suddenly, the crowd erupts into chaos. Wealthy elites start shouting in panic. Stocks suddenly crash. Phones stop working. Money disappears. Ju Hian freezes. This feeling is familiar. Slowly, he turns his head. Through the crowd, he sees blonde hair. His eyes widen in horror. Irene Holton is pushing through the crowd toward him. She followed me here. She finally reaches him, begging him to listen. Ju Hian immediately tries to run. But, wham! He slams face first into a closed glass door. Irene rushes over, grabbing his hand and asking if he's okay. Ju Hian holds his bruised nose and explodes in frustration. He tells her to stop following him because all this misfortune is happening because of her. Irene suddenly goes quiet. Her cheerful expression fades. She admits he's right. Everyone who gets close to her experiences terrible misfortune. That's why she followed him. Because his luck is the exact opposite of hers. If she could learn his secret, maybe the people around her wouldn't suffer anymore. Ju Hian stays silent. He remembers the terrifying future Irene, the king of bankruptcy, a god-tier relic user who destroyed entire economies. But Irene grabs his hand and begs him to teach her. She promises to pay anything. Then, ding, a system notification appears. Repeated exposure to a god-tier relic aura has activated your tolerance. Ju Hian freezes. He suddenly remembers the strange mint relic he ate earlier. Another notification appears. Tolerance has reduced the effects of the god-tier relic. A slow smile spreads across his face. By staying near Irene, he's actually increasing his resistance to god-tier relics. And her misfortune aura will affect everyone else at the auction, including CEO Quan. Cut to Quan angrily shouting into his phone. His company factory in China has suddenly caught fire. His operations are collapsing. Ju Hian watches from a distance and smiles. Irene's aura is already destroying Quan's luck. He turns back to Irene with a charming smile. He says luck is a valuable thing, and he'd be happy to discuss it. But the auction he must attend is about to begin. Then he casually asks, "Would you like to join me at the auction?" He mentions the entrance fee is expensive, but Irene doesn't hesitate. She happily runs off to buy a ticket. Ju Hian watches her leave and chuckles. For someone like her, $20,000 means nothing. He stares at the back of the future king of bankruptcy, wondering what kind of monster she will eventually become. Inside the grand hall of the 74th Midas auction, a blonde auctioneer welcomes everyone and announces the first item. But something is very wrong. Ju Hian sits calmly with his arms crossed while Irene Holton sits beside him. Looking around, he realizes the hall is almost empty. Just 3 minutes after Irene entered, nearly 2/3 of the wealthy attendees suddenly left, likely rushing to deal with the massive misfortune hitting them. However, one man is still here. CEO Taijun Quan, sitting confidently in the front row beside his assistant Shiwu. Ju Hian is surprised. He knows Quan's factory in China is currently burning down, yet the greedy CEO still refuses to leave. That means there must be something here he absolutely wants. Beside him, Irene excitedly points at the stage. The first item is a 100-year-old Russian wine from the imperial family. She asks if Ju Hian plans to bid. He calmly replies that the items he wants will appear later. As Irene nods politely, Ju Hian secretly observes her. This gentle girl is supposed to become the terrifying king of bankruptcy in the future. But right now she seems completely different. She truly doesn't look like she's pretending. Then he remembers her earlier confession, that everyone around her suffers terrible misfortune. And strangely, She seems to know nothing about relics. Zhu Hian realizes something terrifying. Powerful relics have occasionally attached themselves to humans without them knowing. A dark vision flashes in his mind. Future Irene surrounded by violent energy, her personality twisted by endless guilt and isolation until she becomes a ruthless monster. Suddenly Irene speaks, breaking his thoughts. She shyly thanks him for believing her. Zhu Hian casually says it's no big deal. But that simple kindness causes disaster. Ding! A system notification explodes in front of him. The user's mood has increased the relic's power. Irene smiles brightly, saying he made her very happy. Floom! The entire auction hall suddenly shakes like an earthquake. Panic spreads as people scream. More warnings appear. The relic's aura now covers a half-mile radius. Severe misfortune detected. Your relics are receiving critical damage. Zhu Hian breaks into a cold sweat. Inside his pocket, the golden axe relic screams that it's about to break. Zhu Hian realizes the insane truth. This god-tier relic becomes stronger when Irene is happy, but then his own ability activates. Ding! You are being attacked by a god-tier relic. Your tolerance skill has increased. Tolerance has reached rank E. Even with the power-up, Zhu Hian knows he's running out of time. If Irene stays happy, all his relics will be destroyed. So he quickly ruins her mood. He coldly tells her not to get her hopes up and reminds her there's no guarantee her misfortune will disappear. Irene's smile fades immediately. She sadly admits he's right. Ding! User mood change detected. Relic strength normalized. Zhu Hian sighs in relief. Up on stage the auction resumes. But Zhu Hian notices something interesting. The remaining bidders are acting irrationally. They begin wildly bidding on everything, paying ridiculous prices. That's Irene's misfortune aura affecting their judgment. Zhu Hian realizes the opportunity. If everyone wastes their money early, he can easily buy the relics he wants later. So he changes his attitude again. He reassures Irene and promises to explain how to improve her luck. Her eyes light up with hope, and as she becomes happier again, the room falls deeper into chaos. Wealthy bidders start spending enormous amounts of money on useless items. Exactly as Zhu Hian planned. Later, when the real relics appear, most of them are already broke. Zhu Hian easily secures items like the Code of Hammurabi, Shakespeare's pen, and Marie Antoinette's necklace for cheap. However, one person remains unaffected. CEO Quan. Quan calmly continues bidding. Zhu Hian realizes Quan's domination ability is strong enough to resist Irene's aura. So instead, Zhu Hian manipulates him into overpaying for useless relics. Eventually the auction nears its end. But something is wrong. The god-tier relic mentioned in the prophecy still hasn't appeared. Just then the auctioneer announces a surprise final item. The mysterious almond sapling that attracted attention in the news. Instantly, both Zhu Hian and Quan react. On stage sits a small potted tree. But to relic users, it's screaming with power. Zhu Hian instantly recognizes it. Emperor Qin Shi Huang's Tree of Eternal Life. A god-tier healing relic. Without hesitation, he raises his hand to bid. But at the same time, CEO Quan raises his hand as well. A dark memory flashes through Zhu Hian's mind. In his previous life, this exact relic belonged to Quan. Its fruit healed relic poisoning and kept Zhu Hian alive while working for him. That tree had been Quan's leash on his life. Zhu Hian's hatred burns. This time he must take it. But suddenly the auctioneer makes a ridiculous announcement. Apparently the fruit is rumored to restore virility. Taijun Quan coughs awkwardly while Zhu Hian nearly dies of embarrassment. But the bidding war begins. $200,000, $300,000, $800,000. Then Quan shouts, $10 million. The entire room freezes. Zhu Hian grits his teeth. In a direct money battle, he can't beat a billionaire. So he turns to Irene. His eyes are serious. If I solve your misfortune problem, you buy that item for me. Irene looks at him with complete trust. Then she smiles gently. All right. Standing beside the future king of bankruptcy, Zhu Hian knows the outcome is already decided. Together, they are about to financially destroy CEO Quan. Inside the hall, the auctioneer struggles to keep up as bids skyrocket. $46 million, $47, $48, $50 million. The auctioneer confirms the bid and asks for higher offers. Suddenly, Shiwu raises his hand. $100 million. The entire room gasps. Ju Hyun watches silently. 100 million is far beyond his budget. If it were only him, he would never win this relic. But then a calm voice speaks beside him. It's Irene. With a bright smile, she says, $150 million. The entire hall erupts. CEO Kwon instantly stands and shouts, 160 million, but Irene casually responds, 200 million. Kwon grits his teeth in fury. Sherwoo quickly warns him that she's Irene Holton, the daughter of the unbelievably wealthy Holton family. Still, Kwon refuses to back down. 220 million. The bidding war escalates rapidly. Then Irene calmly raises the price again. 300 million. The crowd can't believe the numbers jumping by hundreds of millions. Kwon nearly loses control as Sherwoo physically holds him back. Moments later, the result is announced. The Tree of Eternal Life is sold to Irene Holton for $500 million. Later, Ju Hyun and Irene sit in a private lounge. Ju Hyun casually asks if 500 million wasn't too expensive. Irene smiles and says it's nothing for her. Then she asks the real question. How will he fix her misfortune? Does he have some charm or a way to share his luck? Ju Hyun calmly says he has nothing like that. Irene immediately looks devastated. Was he lying to her? Ju Hyun quickly stops her and explains the real issue. Her problem can't be solved by adding something. Something must be removed. He suggests she probably carries a strange item that constantly follows her. If she gives it to him, her curse should disappear. Inside, Ju Hyun smirks. Removing the god-tier bankruptcy relic from her would cure her and give the relic to him. But Irene insists she doesn't have anything like that. She even tried throwing away her belongings before, but nothing changed. Ju Hyun pauses, then asks one key question. Did a tattoo suddenly appear on her body? Irene freezes. The reaction confirms everything. The system explains relic types. Some relics are consumable. Others are bound relics, which mark their master with a tattoo and can only be used by them. Irene quietly pulls out her phone and shows him the mark. The moment Ju Hyun sees the picture, his expression hardens. Dark, jagged veins spread across her back and arm. This isn't just a bound relic. It's a parasitic relic living inside her body. Extracting it won't be simple. Ju Hyun sighs and admits he can't remove it right now. Instead, he writes his number on a napkin and gives it to her. They'll figure out a solution later. Inside his mind, Ju Hyun changes strategy. If he can't steal the relic, then Irene will become a powerful ally. Meanwhile, an auction staff member informs Ju Hyun that the payment for his items has been received. Ju Hyun calls his crew to bring the money. But the phone keeps ringing. No answer. His expression darkens. Something feels wrong. Cut to a dark alley. Sung-woo and the two goons lie unconscious. The money bags are gone. Ju Hyun assumes they betrayed him and ran away with the cash. Meanwhile, on the Vegas streets, Sung-woo and the goons run through the night carrying the money. Eventually they stop, exhausted. They laugh greedily. They're rich now. But suddenly a cold voice echoes through the alley. Impressive. You actually tried to steal my money. They freeze. At the end of the alley stands Ju Hyun, surrounded by a terrifying aura. Sung-woo panics. How did he find them? Ju Hyun lifts the golden axe relic. It glows with golden energy. He calmly explains the relic can track wealth. Finding them was easy. The goons instantly fall to their knees begging for mercy. Ju Hyun clicks his tongue, then pulls a strange gray stone from his pocket. The goons nervously ask if it's just a pumice stone. Ju Hyun smiles. Then, Hyun. A piercing screech fills the alley. Boom. Blue smoke erupts as a massive stone pillar rises from the ground behind him, covered in ancient carvings. The legendary code of Hammurabi. The relic activates its law. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Any harm done to its owner is reflected back to the attacker. Ju Hyun reveals he used his favor with the auction staff to retrieve the relic early. The traders stare in terror. Ju Hyun's eyes glow with cold purple light as he delivers his final words. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And betrayal will be answered with betrayal. The alley explodes with blue light as a massive stone pillar rises behind Ju Hyun. Covered in ancient Babylonian carvings, it's the legendary code of Hammurabi. Ju Hyun stands before it with glowing eyes as the law activates. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Betrayal will be answered with betrayal. The terrified goons scream as magical energy surrounds them. Sungwoo panics, asking what the hell this thing is. Ju Hyun calmly explains the relic's ability. Normally, it reflects attacks back at enemies, but since it represents laws, he wondered if it could also restrict people's future actions. A system message suddenly appears. The Code of Hammurabi has begun monitoring the targeted subjects. The goons completely freak out. Ju Hyun smiles and tells them to think of it as signing a binding contract. If they betray him again, the consequences won't be pleasant. Sungwoo yells that he can't force them into something like that, but the other goons notice the pillar has already vanished, meaning Ju Hyun might actually be telling the truth. Ju Hyun then drops another bomb. Soon the entire world will change, and the safest place to be is working for him. If they serve him properly, he promises to pay them far more money than they just tried to steal, even entire buildings if they want. Sungwoo's fear quickly turns into greed. He reluctantly agrees. Ju Hyun simply smirks. You'll see. The next morning, inside Ju Hyun's apartment, the goons stand confused beside a giant empty flower pot, bags of soil, and gardening tools. Sungwoo complains about being called here early. Ju Hyun casually points to the side. You see that almond sapling? The small tree is violently wiggling and yelling in an angry voice. The tree of eternal life is literally complaining about how it's being treated. Sungwoo nearly loses his mind. Ju Hyun calmly sips his coffee and tells them to replant it properly. After all, that tiny tree is worth $500 million. Sungwoo freezes while holding the shovel. The goons carefully begin repotting the tree like it's royalty. Ju Hyun watches with satisfaction. The reason is simple. The tree of eternal life hates users with high domination like him and prefers people with high affinity, which makes these clueless idiots the perfect caretakers. Suddenly, Ju Hyun's phone rings. He recognizes the number immediately. It's CEO Taijun Kwon. Ju Hyun answers calmly. Kwon gets straight to the point. He heard Ju Hyun receive the almond sapling Irene bought. He wants to discuss it. Ju Hyun coldly replies he has nothing to say and hangs up. Immediately, in Kwon's office, the billionaire explodes in rage. He hung up on me. His assistant Sherwoo Yoon immediately suggests using company relics to retrieve the sapling by force. Kwon's eyes narrow with greed. He could already sense the relic's immense power. Permission granted. Back in the apartment, Sungwoo is screaming at Ju Hyun for hanging up on the most powerful man in the country. Ju Hyun quietly pulls out the golden axe and points it at him. Sungwoo instantly shuts up. Ju Hyun tells them to keep taking care of the tree and send daily pictures. If they betray him again, the contract will destroy them. Meanwhile, Ju Hyun walks through the city. He knows Kwon will send people after him, so instead of hiding, he intentionally exposes himself to lure them out. The silver axe in his hand glows, reacting to approaching enemies. Eventually, he spots someone. Across the street stands Sherwoo Yoon, yelling into his phone in frustration. Ju Hyun senses something else too. Relic energy. Sherwoo is carrying relics. Ju Hyun smiles darkly. Perfect. Later inside a neon-lit bar, Sherwoo finally approaches him. Are you Ju Hyun-soo? Ju Hyun completely ignores him. Sherwoo tries again. Still nothing. Finally, Sherwoo slams his hand on the bar and screams. Hey, are you deaf? Instantly. Pow! Ju Hyun backhands him across the face. Sherwoo crashes to the floor. Ju Hyun stands over him coldly. If you have business with someone, learn some manners. Sherwoo burns with rage. But Ju Hyun isn't paying attention anymore. He's focused on the relic energy radiating from Sherwoo's body. A dark smile spreads across his face. Now that they're close, he can clearly sense the relics. And he begins wondering something dangerous. Should I just take them from him? Sherwoo Yoon stands frozen while holding his burning cheek. His face is filled with shock and humiliation. No one has ever dared to hit him like that before. But Ju Hyun sits calmly on the bar stool like nothing happened. Inside his mind, everything is already clear. CEO Taijun Kwon must have discovered that Ju Hyun now owns the tree of eternal life. And just like expected, he immediately sent someone to track him down. And that tracker is Sherwoo. Ju Hyun carefully studies him. Sherwoo came alone, which means TKBM still doesn't see Ju Hyun as a serious threat. That realization makes Ju Hyun smile. Since Sherwoo kindly delivered himself, Ju Hyun decides he might as well take the relics he brought with him. Trying to regain control, Shiwu adjusts his glasses and introduces himself properly. He explains that he's here on behalf of CEO Quan and asks if Ju Hian remembers meeting him at the Midas auction yesterday. Ju Hian tilts his head. Can't say I remember. Shiwu instantly explodes in frustration. Then Ju Hian suddenly snaps his fingers. Oh right, you're the idiot kissing that geezer's ass. That insult completely shatters Shiwu's composure. Veins bulge across his forehead as rage takes over. At that moment, a system notification appears. Opponent's composure decreasing. Relic control efficiency dropping. Ju Hian smirks. He knows exactly how Shiwu works. Back in his past life, Shiwu constantly picked fights with him out of jealousy. But Ju Hian also learned his biggest weakness. Shiwu has a massive inferiority complex. And if someone keeps poking at it, he completely loses control. Shiwu finally snaps. He pulls out a glowing green club relic and swings it directly at Ju Hian. But instead of a powerful attack, the relic only releases a weak puff of air. Nothing happens. Shiwu stares at it in confusion. Ju Hian calmly explains why. Relics require mental stability to activate. Since Shiwu is overwhelmed by rage, his ability to control relics has drastically dropped. In other words, he can't properly use his own weapon anymore. Realizing this, Ju Hian decides to push him even further. He casually mentions that CEO Quan called him earlier. Then he mockingly suggests that maybe the old man desperately needs that virility tree. Shiwu grits his teeth in fury. Ju Hian then pretends to make an offer. Maybe he'll hand over the relic. If Shiwu asks politely, Shiwu trembles with humiliation. But his desire to earn CEO Quan's approval crushes his pride. Finally, he bows deeply. I beg you, please give us the tree. For a moment the bar goes silent. Then Ju Hian bursts into laughter. You actually believe that? Shiwu slowly raises his head. His expression turns into pure hatred. Enraged, Shiwu pulls out a small glass flask filled with strange powder. If you won't cooperate, I'll just turn you into my slave and kill you. He tries to throw the powder, but nothing comes out. Shiwu freezes in confusion. Before he can react, Ju Hian grabs his head. Slam. He smashes Shiwu's face into the bar counter. Blood instantly pours from Shiwu's nose. Another system message appears. Opponent's composure critically low. Relic control reduced from grade A to grade D. Ju Hian casually takes the flask from Shiwu's hand. The relic inside speaks. It's Voodoo Priest Zombie Powder, a possession-type relic. Ju Hian instantly dominates it. Then he pours the cursed powder onto Shiwu's face. The relic activates immediately. Within seconds, Shiwu collapses into a mindless zombie state, completely losing his consciousness. Ju Hian calmly adjusts his coat. That should slow down CEO Quan's pursuit. Later, inside a Las Vegas police station, Shiwu sits inside a holding cell wrapped in a blanket, completely naked and growling like a wild animal. Apparently, under the influence of the relic, he ran through the streets naked before police arrested him. A newspaper headline spreads the embarrassing story across the city. CEO Quan watches the disaster unfold in fury. Not only is his subordinate publicly humiliated, all the relics Shiwu carried are gone. Quan quickly connects the dots. The only person capable of doing this is Ju Hian. Now he suspects something even more dangerous. Either Ju Hian belongs to a powerful organization, or he actually understands how relics truly work. Instead of sending more force, Quan decides to try another strategy. He sends his personal lawyer, Jaina Li. Meanwhile, at the Las Vegas airport, Ju Hian prepares to leave the city. Sungwoo stares at the massive pile of relics they collected, confused about why they look like ordinary antiques. But Ju Hian knows their true value. During this trip alone, he obtained an incredible collection: the Egyptian funeral knife, the golden and silver axes, Muramesa, the mystical rope, the Code of Hammurabi, Shakespeare's pen, Marie Antoinette's necklace, the Tree of Eternal Life, and finally, the relics stolen from Shiwu: zombie powder, foxtail millet, and Homer's glasses. Even selling a small portion of them will give him enough money to build his empire. Everything went perfectly, but just as he relaxes, prepares to leave Vegas, a cold voice suddenly stops him. Are you Ju Hian Su? Ju Hian slowly turns around. Standing behind him is a woman in a perfectly tailored black suit, her eyes sharp and emotionless. I am Jina Lee, TKBM's exclusive lawyer. The moment Ju Hyun sees her, his expression darkens, because he knows exactly who she is. CEO Kwan's second weapon, and unlike the others, this one doesn't fight with power. She destroys people with laws. Ju Hyun smirks slightly. So the old man finally sent his lawyer. Huh. But what Jina says next changes everything. Mr. Su, you are now involved in a legal case concerning multiple stolen relics. The airport suddenly feels colder. And for the first time in this battle, Ju Hyun isn't facing a hunter. He's facing the law itself. And the real question is, can a Tomb Raider beat the legal system? Or is this the trap that finally stops him? Watch the full story in the next part.